2022 was a fantastic year for movies. There was so many great releases this year, but clearly a lot of people on Letterbox don't agree. I thought it would be fun to take a look at some of the worst reviews on Letterbox for 2022 movies that I loved. Obviously a lot of movies came out in 2022 and I did not get to see all of them, but I think this list sort of encapsulates sort of my highlights from the movies that I did see this year. Some may be beloved by many and some maybe have a little more niche audiences, but I think for the most part these movies were wildly enjoyable, entertaining, and just fantastic overall. So let's start off with what might be my personal favorite of 2022, Everything Everywhere All at Once. This was such a big surprise. This movie had everything. This movie had heart, this movie had humor, it had characters, it had action, it had twists and turns, and it was bizarre. It was so entertaining and so original, so unique. Never seen a movie like this before. Honestly, yeah, probably I might just have to say this is my favorite of 2022 just because of how bizarre and weird and different and original, but still thoroughly entertaining with a strong emotional core that this movie had. I thought this movie was fantastic, but clearly people on Letterboxd do not agree. One person here just says hate. They gave the movie half a star and their review was hate. Gotta love an in-depth reasoning for your hatred towards the movie. Oh, here we got another one from Lex, half a star. Terrible. Really great insight, guys. I'm really understanding how this movie's so bad. Thanks for the one-word responses. Gabriel Pinero says this is the third A24 movie of 2022 that everyone is freaking out about, only talking about them, and it's a disappointment to me. I'm starting to agree with those who say that the A24 fanbase is completely blind and accepts everything that comes out of there. Okay, well, I think there is something to be said about A24 fans that will sort of worship sort of any movie that comes out from them, but I think this is an exception because of how amazing this movie is, in my personal opinion. But let's see what else he has to say. Honestly, I think you've gone completely crazy. How is this movie getting such high ratings? At the beginning of the film, the whole plot of the couple, the daughter, the father, the taxes, everything was going so well. And okay, the multiverse thing, it was interesting for 20 minutes, but after a while I felt like watching a terrible music video from the 2000s directed by Edgar Wright. Well, props to Edgar Wright. I guess that's a compliment to him, or a diss, because it's a bad review, I'm not really sure. But I don't understand how this could seem like a terrible music video. The film is only concerned with its visual gags and simply doesn't care about the characters. It's empty, completely empty. Factually, objectively, that's wrong. This movie its core story is about a mother and a daughter. How can you say it doesn't care about characters? That is absurd. And okay, if we think of it as a superhero and kung fu movie, it does the job well, but I went to see the movie waiting for the masterpiece that everyone told me about. I'm completely disappointed. It's not all of this. Stop idolizing everything that A24 releases. The first cohesive review, the first one with actual words, but still, to say this movie doesn't care about characters and is empty of any emotion or any character building is completely absurd. To think of it as a superhero or kung fu movie, yeah, of course it does the job well in those aspects because it blends so many different genres and styles of movies together. The fight scenes, you know, the action scenes, but also the emotional scenes. I don't know. I wholeheartedly disagree with everything that is said in this review, but thanks for putting some words, because the next one says, so bad, half a star. Like, I don't understand. Put some thoughts. Like, a word or two would be interesting to hear. Wow, this is a Reddit movie. It's Marvel, it's a Super Bowl commercial, it's a fresh off the boat Crazy Rich Asians culturally liberal, wow, they thought my food was smelly style take on the Asian disapproval. This is a Reddit movie? What does that even mean? I don't really understand what a Reddit movie means, but Retroflex gave the movie half a star and says, I only watched 15 minutes, but that's more than enough to know it's blank. What the fuck are you cornballs thinking? Respectfully. Had to do my small part lowering the average rating, which I guess is a lost cause. The epic bacon crowd has triumphed. Okay, so you watch 15 minutes of a movie, come to the conclusion that it's, I'm assuming, shit based on the blank emoji, and then say respectfully, what the fuck were y'all thinking? That movie's trash. I only watched 15 minutes of it, but y'all are fucking stupid. Oh, finally, a positive review. Heidi says, holy heck, this is awesome, and gave the movie half a star. This is crap. Terrible story, terrible acting, stupidity, without rhyme or reason. The runtime of 2 hours plus is just additional torture. What a waste. You know, some people just, I guess, don't like to have fun. I think that's what I'm gathering from this. Some people just don't like fun. Switching gears completely, completely switching gears to a completely tonally different movie, All Quiet on the Western Front. This is one of the most devastating and emotionally impactful movies I've ever seen. It's dirty, it's gritty, it's grimy. You feel like you're in the trenches with these soldiers at all times. The acting is phenomenal. The ominous, completely almost techno score that you wouldn't think would fit in a war movie somehow, some way just manages to fit perfectly with the vibe of this movie. There's this 3 sort of note theme that plays throughout the whole movie, this sort of like heavy techno bass thing, and it's so ominous and creepy. It's a long movie, but I think the length is warranted. It really makes you feel so worn out by the end that you're just exhausted. You're emotionally devastated, just like these characters. I thought all the actors were phenomenal. The set pieces, the scene with the tanks and the flamethrowers was phenomenally done. It's horrific, it's depressing, but it's also just incredible filmmaking, and it's a story that has a lot to say about war and its consequences. Let's see what people on Letterbox have to say. Governor Fields gave the movie half a star and says, despite being named All Quiet on the Western Front, this movie was anything but that. This movie was so incredibly loud that my eardrums had ruptured by the end of it, and I needed to learn sign language. Overall, I'd say the movie is 5 out of 5, but because of the false advertising on the noise level of the film, I have to give it 0. Okay, I really hope this is a joke. It seems like a joke. I'm gonna assume it's a joke. Good one. This person says, unrelenting, cancerous, gimmicky video game technical exercise wankery between lifeless dialogue that adds nothing to the non-existent narrative and shit that's been done better in other films, easily one of the year's worst. Wow, dude. What? That is not a sentence I ever thought I would say. Unrelenting, cancerous, gimmicky video game technical exercise wankery. What does that even mean? Video game technical exercise wankery? Lifeless dialogue? Non-existent narrative. I'm convinced people don't watch these movies. They must be scrolling Letterbox while watching if you think this movie doesn't have a narrative. This person says in the first, I think, acceptable review of this whole video, it's not bad, it's just not for me. I don't know enough about the book or the other film adaptations to conclude whether this is an accurate description or not. Fair enough. I still think half a star is a little harsh, even if it wasn't for you. But, you know, thanks for the clear, concise thought and reasoning to your bad review. Appreciated. This person says everyone has seen this movie 1,000 times before, only this version features a ridiculous English dub and those Netflix production values we all love so much. Newsflash, there's actually a feature on Netflix that allows you to watch with the original audio with subtitles. Yeah, so maybe try that feature out next time. This person just said, why is this film quiet? Gave it half a star. You may have had your TV muted, my guy. I don't think I've ever seen a worse movie hyped up in my life. Terrible acting, terrible dialogue, lame plot, awful visual effects, and unbearably slow. I love a good slow burn film, but this is just terrible. It drags on for 2.5 dreary hours. Wouldn't recommend to my worst enemy. The fact that Netflix has the gall to compare this to Saving Private Ryan in 1917 is blasphemous. Terrible acting, terrible dialogue, lame plot, awful visual effects. Are you kidding me right now? Yeah, did we watch the same movie? I don't think we watched the same movie. Those visual effects, most of them practical, were fantastic. Alright, switching gears completely to a movie that came out a lot earlier in the year, but had so much hype behind it, and honestly, I have to say, it lived up to expectations and honestly surpassed them. This was really good. I really love this movie. One of my favorites of 2022, The Batman. Everything about this movie, the theme, the score, Robert Pattinson as Batman, Paul Dano as the Riddler, all the supporting characters, the overall dark sort of take on Gotham City, the Penguin, how could I forget about the Penguin, that fantastic car chase scene, the funeral scene with the Riddler, so many memorable scenes. fantastic dialogue, great writing. It was a great story, a great mystery, a great different take on Batman, seeing Bruce Wayne sort of have that internal struggle and then become the Batman, sort of solving these mysteries. I love the visual aspects of the film. I love the directing, just the technical aspects. I thought this was a fantastic superhero movie, so different than what we're used to seeing with all the Marvel movies and even some of the other DC movies that we got in 2022. I thought the Batman was fantastic. Let's see what people on Letterbox have to say. Fuck Robert Pattinson. This is the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. Only weirdos like people that own not safe for work Twitter accounts would like this. What? What does that even mean? When everyone's favorite part of the movie is the car was like so loud, bruh, it's probably not a good movie, and yet somehow the Batman is even worse. Okay, I will fight anyone who says that wasn't fucking amazing. The scene where the Batmobile is revving up, dude, stop. Come on. That scene, I literally had goosebumps in the movie theater. Like, are you kidding me? That scene was fantastic. This review just says bad man. I get it why people like this film, but for me, it was so bad, I physically couldn't watch it all in one sitting. You literally could not sit down in the chair and just watch it. That's how physically revolting this movie was. Ass. Fell asleep 3 times. Was a 3-hour-long Criminal Mind episode. Not good. L. Okay. You know, I don't really understand. Like half a star, you found nothing. You watched a 3-hour movie and found no redeeming qualities about it whatsoever. Like, that honestly blows my mind. Funniest release of the year. Fuck Bruce Wayne, rich ass white boy working with the cops and beating up people dealing with mental illnesses. Batman's always been the villain. Wow. Beating up people dealing with mental illnesses. If the Riddler was in this earth, in this real world, we know who the first supporter would be. One of the worst films I have ever seen. The first time I have left the cinema midway through a film. So once again, you didn't finish the movie. I don't understand. Could you imagine going to a movie theater, paying somebody, what now, like these days $13 to see a movie, possibly buying drinks, popcorn, snacks, $20, about a $40 experience, and then leaving halfway through the movie? Like, what? That's one of the things, I'm going to go on a little mini tangent here, but I don't understand why people leave movies. You know, even bad movies. If I was sitting in a movie that was so fucking dog shit that I really wanted to leave, I would still just stay, just to at least experience it and laugh and just, you know, talk about it with whoever I was there with after, just to, you know, make fun of it, make it a fun, you know, memorable, just make fun of the movie at least. Don't fucking leave. What a waste of time and money then, because, you know, you already bought the ticket, you know, may as well stick it through and finish the movie. Like, I don't understand. Hard to hear as everything was mumbled, dark to watch, terrible storyline, characters lacked anything interesting about them, miserable to watch, and a waste of my time and money. Yeah, I mean, you could have saved your money if you just stayed in the theater. Alright, switching gears now into the horror genre. One of the wildest, most insane, crazy, disturbing movies I saw in 2022, X. This movie is clearly not for everybody. A lot of weird shit goes down in this movie. Kid Cudi? What's Kid Cudi doing in this movie? Oh, he's doing stuff. Regardless of how weird and creepy this movie was, I still absolutely loved it. I love the style. I love how sort of old style it looked. It reminds me so much of the original Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie, just in the way it's filmed alone. It's got this sort of grainy look to it. And I just love a lot of the shots. It's dark. It's sort of moody a lot of the time. You feel like you've just time traveled into the 70s, early 80s when this movie takes place. And the cast, I think, was fantastic. They all did their jobs well. And the disturbing, creepy, whack out of nowhere elements really hit you and just leave you feeling thrilled and excited and weird and disturbed, which is all you want from a horror movie. And the performances are all fantastic. Great soundtrack, and just really a disturbing movie overall. But with a movie like this, Letterbox is bound to have some bad things to say about it. Half a star. Hated it. Bad, and bad. The only thing that saved was the Wednesday's acting. It is so bad. I want to give you a 0, but that's not possible, so I give you a 1. Didn't even do that. You still gave the movie 0.5. So, just blatantly wrong review. They should have killed me instead. I hate this garbage ass movie. Straight to the point and blunt. I like it. What was it about? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Why should I care about any of the characters? It felt hollow, devoid of any meaning. Felt like a 2-hour-long video made to bore, shock, and disgust the viewers, with anger happening a little after the fact due to the wasted time that could have been done literally anything else. Example, staring at a blank wall. Hollow, devoid of any meaning. These are words when people say things like this, like, no, there is a meaning to the movie. Maybe you just didn't care, or you didn't find it interesting, or you didn't even know, but to say it's just hollow and devoid of any meaning is just wrong. Like, I'm sorry, there was a lot of great themes in this movie, and clearly somebody just missed them. Switching gears once more, who would have thought that at 60 years old, Tom Cruise could still be delivering some of the best action movies we've ever seen in our lifetime? Top Gun Maverick was a complete surprise for me, having not really seen or known much about the original Top Gun, and knowing usually how it goes when people try to make sequels years, decades later after the original movie had already come out. I was not really that excited for this movie. Like, why should I really care? But this movie has such a charm and a magic to it that it's so like, I can't even describe the feeling of this movie. It's so like nostalgic for things that I don't even have nostalgia for. It's exhilarating. The flight scenes with Tom Cruise in that jet are just insane. Like, it's thrilling, and just knowing that he's doing it all himself makes it even better. The music is fantastic. The storyline with the son and everything is amazing. It's just pure fun and pure enjoyment. And there's a great story at the core of it with great technical elements that just elevate it even more. And that's all you can really ask for in a movie, is something that's just entertaining. This came out right in the peak of summer, and it was the perfect summer blockbuster. I think this movie's fantastic, but clearly people on Letterbox do not agree. This person just says too boring. Just too boring, man. Like, I can't. Yeah, I don't want to watch Tom Cruise. I don't want to watch Tom Cruise fly a fucking fighter jet. Like, how in God's name is that boring? Hands down, the worst film I've seen in a long time. Fuck Tom Cruise. Why does he still have a career? Maybe because he's one of the greatest movie stars of our generation of all time. Maybe that's why. He's flying fighter jets for your entertainment. He's hanging off the side of a plane, jumping off fucking these skydiving. He's hanging off the Burj Khalifa for our entertainment. That's why he still has a career. Zero plot, like the original. More oiled up, shirtless men trying to out-alpha each other. If you like Tom Cruise, bros, and loud noises, then you'll love this. Well, I mean, there is a plot. So to say zero plot is just wrong. There's a plot. Obviously, there's a plot. But this is more of a movie also just kind of for the vibes. For the plane scenes, the fight scenes, the characters talking with each other. Like, there's not really lots at stake here, but to say there's zero plot is false. But I agree that the plot's not the main driver in my opinion. The rest of this review just kind of funny. This film could only be made in America. What a load of utter shite. Didn't watch it. I just hate Tom Crust. Didn't even watch the movie, you just hate Tom Crust. Okay, moving on. This movie sucked ass. I have never once in my life felt uncomfortable and hateful of a movie. This entire movie was an ego boost for Tom Cruise. This movie is absolute shit. And then we got two back-to-back reviews. One just says ZZZZZ, and the other says, I literally fell asleep in the theater because of how bored I was. I gave this a half star out of pity. Maybe this just ain't your type of movie, but how could you possibly be bored watching fighter jets fight and fly around each other, whizzing and zooming and booming in the theater sound system? Like, I don't understand. Well, seems like clearly Letterbox and I don't share the same opinion on a lot of 2022 movies, but that's okay. You know what? Everyone's entitled to their own opinion. Film is subjective overall. I mean, that's sort of what makes film exciting, is being able to talk about it, have your own opinions about it, and you know, some people just love to hate. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this type of video, and I will see you all in the next one.